There was a time when the shooting guard was the soul of the team, not just a scorer, not just a defender, but the one who took the shot when everything was on the line. The one who wanted the ball, no matter the pressure, no matter the stakes. In that era, names like Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler didn't just play the game. They shaped the expectations of what a shooting guard should be. Tough, fearless, versatile, ruthless in the clutch. But the game changed. Spacing widened. The pace quickened. Pull-up threes replaced post-ups. Combos replaced positions. Now, a new generation leads the charge. Devin Booker with surgical precision. Donovan Mitchell with explosive force, both rewriting the role in their own way. Less about fitting a mold, more about breaking it. This is more than a comparison between four players. It's a battle between two definitions of greatness: old school fundamentals versus new school freedom, control versus creativity, legacy versus evolution. Jordan, Drexler, Booker, Mitchell. Two eras, one position, endless debate. This is the art of the two. Michael Jordan. He wasn't born into greatness. He had to fight for it. As a sophomore in high school, he was cut from the varsity team. It wasn't politics. It wasn't bias. It was a message. You're not there yet. Most kids would have taken that as rejection. Michael took it as a challenge. He turned it into a ritual. Early mornings, relentless drills, a quiet promise to himself, they will never outwork me again. At North Carolina, under Dean Smith, he wasn't the star. But in the 1982 NCAA championship game, with the clock ticking down, it was the freshman who hit the shot. That wasn't just a game winner, it was a preview. The league came calling in 1984. The Bulls drafted him 3rd overall, and from day one, he played like he had been personally offended by every doubter who had ever lived. Clyde Drexler. He didn't arrive with the spotlight. He earned it with movement. Clyde Drexler grew up in Houston, Texas. Quiet, smooth, and unbelievably athletic, he found his rhythm at the University of Houston, where he became part of a team that would be known as Phi Slama Jama. It was a system built on speed, flight, and fearlessness. And Clyde, long-striding, gliding, explosive, was its signature. He wasn't the loudest. He didn't crave headlines. But when he took flight, everyone paid attention. The Portland Trail Blazers took him in 1983, not to save the franchise, but to grow with it. And over the years, Drexler turned into an all-around force: scorer, rebounder, passer, transition threat. His game didn't ask for attention. It demanded respect. Devin Booker. Coming out of high school, Devin Booker wasn't a phenom. At Kentucky, he didn't start. He came off the bench as a role player, a shooter, a supporting cast member. But what most missed was the precision, the poise, the calm control of someone who already knew what he was becoming. When Phoenix drafted him in 2015, they weren't drafting a star. They were taking a chance on a piece. By year 2, he dropped 70 points in a game. Not in a blowout, not as a gimmick, but as a 20-year-old carving through professionals with polish beyond his years. He didn't do it with flash. He did it with footwork, angles, and discipline, the kind that doesn't trend, but lasts. Donovan Mitchell. At first glance, he didn't fit the mold. Too small for a shooting guard, not a pure point guard, and no blue blood hype train pushing his name forward. But Donovan Mitchell had something different. Explosiveness, yes, but also a chip on his shoulder, a refusal to let doubt define him. At Louisville, he worked in silence. At the Combine, he exploded, vertically and on draft boards. Utah took the risk. Mitchell made sure they never regretted it. As a rookie, he didn't ease in. He took over, leading the team in scoring, outplaying all-stars, dominating in the postseason. Every night was a proving ground, and he never blinked. Together, these 4 players started in different places, different expectations, different paths, but one thing connects them. They didn't wait to be chosen. They forced the game to notice Michael Jordan. He entered the league with confidence, not the kind you talk about, the kind you prove. From the first dribble in a Bulls jersey, he made it clear. This wasn't going to be a learning curve. It was going to be a takeover. In his rookie year, he averaged over 28 points per game, not with three-pointers, not with spacing, but with footwork, intensity, and an instinct that couldn't be taught. The fans noticed. The league took longer. He was a highlight machine, but the Bulls kept losing. The critics called him flashy, said he could score, but not lead. So Jordan changed the story. He didn't tone it down. He turned it up. Scoring titles, MVPs, all defensive teams, and still no ring. Until 1991, when the climb finally broke through the ceiling. The Bulls swept the Pistons, his longtime tormentors, then took down Magic Johnson's Lakers for his first championship. Jordan's climb wasn't just about reaching the top. It was about dragging the game there with him. Clyde Drexler. While Jordan was building a brand, Clyde Drexler was building a team. Throughout the late 80s and early 90s, he led the Portland Trail Blazers through the toughest Western Conference landscape of the era. He wasn't putting up headlines. He was putting up wins. 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, quiet dominance. But 1992 was the year everything focused in. The Blazers were back in the finals. The media framed it as Drexler versus Jordan. 2 athletic wings, 2 scoring leaders, a showdown between the best of the West and the face of the league. But Jordan didn't just win. He made a statement. 6 three-pointers in one half, a shrug to the bench. And suddenly, Clyde wasn't a rival. He was a runner-up. Still, Drexler never folded. He adapted. He endured. In 1995, he was traded to the Houston Rockets, joined forces with Hakeem Olajuwon, and finally got what he had spent a decade chasing, a championship. Not by being louder, not by outshining others, but by staying the course. Devin Booker. For the first few years, Devin Booker lived in 2 worlds. On the court, he was lighting it up. 30-point games, walk-off buzzer beaters, footwork that screamed fundamentals in an era of chaos. Off the court, silence, no playoff appearances, no national spotlight. Critics called it empty stats, said he could score, but not win. He didn't respond with words. He responded with work. By 2021, everything changed. Chris Paul arrived. The roster matured. And Booker rose, not just as a scorer, but as a leader. In his playoff debut, he looked like a 10-year veteran. Eliminated the defending champs, dropped 40 in the NBA Finals. He didn't need a reintroduction. He needed recognition. Now every defender knows the truth. He's not just skilled, he's built to last. Donovan Mitchell never eased into the league. He charged in. As a rookie, he led the Utah Jazz in scoring, took them to the playoffs. Outplayed Russell Westbrook. But still, doubt lingered. Too small, too aggressive, too much for a team that wasn't ready. Mitchell didn't back down. He just kept climbing. The playoffs became his proving ground. 57 points in the 2020 bubble, one of the greatest postseason performances ever. But it wasn't just scoring, it was presence. In every huddle, every fourth quarter, Mitchell made it clear he wasn't here to participate. He was here to take over. After the trade to Cleveland, he wasted no time. 71 points in a single game, instant chemistry, immediate impact. The climb for Donovan Mitchell has always been steep, but he keeps choosing the hard route because that's where the fire lives. 4 players, 4 climbs, different decades, different systems, but the same hunger to become unavoidable. Michael Jordan. For most players, rivalries are competition. For Jordan, they were fuel. First came the Detroit Pistons, physical, punishing, merciless. They created a defensive scheme specifically to stop him. The Jordan rules: hit him, trap him, wear him down. It worked until it didn't. Jordan didn't complain. He transformed. He added muscle, sharpened his game. And in 1991, he swept them out of the playoffs. Didn't shake hands, didn't look back. Then came Clyde Drexler. The media wanted a duel. Jordan wanted domination. In the 1992 finals, he hit 6 3-pointers in the first half. Looked at the scorers table. Shrugged. Not disrespect, just a quiet statement. There's no one like me. Jordan didn't just beat the best. He made examples out of them. Barkley, Malone, Miller, Hall of Famers with Hall of Fame scars. Every defining moment with Jordan came down to one question. Are you ready to lose to him? Because most did. Clyde Drexler. Drexler was a competitor, but he never needed a camera to prove it. Still, rivalries found him. The Lakers ruled the West in his early years. The Bulls waited in the East. And in between, Clyde carried the weight of expectation for a franchise that was always close. The 1992 finals became his defining test. He played well, but Jordan played immortal. That series reshaped the narrative. From who's better to who's chasing who. But Drexler didn't cave under the spotlight. He just moved forward. When he joined the Houston Rockets in 1995, it wasn't about redemption. It was about completion. He helped lead them to a championship, closing the chapter on his own terms. Drexler's rivalry wasn't with other players. It was with the idea that quiet excellence gets forgotten. He made sure it wouldn't be. Devin Booker's early years were battle-free, not because he wasn't capable, because no one cared enough to fight. But that changed the moment he started winning. Then came Luka Doncic. The 2022 Western Conference semifinals became personal. Trash talk, tension, physical play. Phoenix led 3-2. Luka smiled. Then he dismantled them in Game 7. Booker scored just 11 points. The Suns lost by 33. Embarrassment isn't always visible. But Booker felt it, and he used it. The next season, he returned sharper, hung 30, 40, 50 with ease. No celebration, no hype, just cold execution. That loss didn't define him, but it lit a fire that still burns. Because now, every rivalry isn't about Luka. It's about proving something deeper. He belongs at the top, and he doesn't need to explain why. Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's rivalries were never scripted. They just happened because he showed up when it mattered. His first was with Russell Westbrook in his rookie playoffs. No fear, no deference, just buckets. But the real fire came in the 2020 bubble. Jamal Murray versus Donovan Mitchell. 50 points for Murray, 57 for Mitchell. They traded blows like boxers, game after game, each refusing to blink. Mitchell lost the series, but no one forgot what he did. Since then, his battles have been less about one player and more about expectation. Can he lead a team? Can he win in the playoffs? Is he the guy or just a spectacular scorer? Every postseason, that question hangs in the air. And every time, Mitchell steps back on the floor with something to prove. He isn't chasing rivalries. He's chasing something harder to catch. Validation. Each of these men reached a moment where talent wasn't enough. They had to confront doubt, confront failure, confront someone who wanted to take what they were building. For Jordan, it made him a tyrant. For Drexler, it made him a champion. For Booker and Mitchell, the story is still being written. But one thing's certain, greatness demands confrontation, and the best shooting guards never run from it. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't just change basketball, he changed the world around it. Before him, superstars were local icons, After him, they were global empires. He wasn't just the face of the Bulls, he became the face of the NBA. Air Jordan wasn't a nickname, it was a brand. One that turned sneakers into status and sports into lifestyle. He made winning